Hello everyone, thank you for inviting me. Hard job after this beautiful movie, but I will try to do my job at the best. So, really thank you for inviting me. This is a beautiful location. I feel like, well, really honored to be here. I've been asked to open up this session by giving some basics of service design, some framework, and actually this is what I like to do. Is it correct? And so I will go quickly through a kind of journey into the service design, into a service design framework that I like to discuss with you. I think I have a kind of half an hour. I will try to be faster if possible. Please feel free to interrupt or to have questions in the end. I'm happy to change the schedule and the program and to answer or to, let's say, have a more interactive session. Okay, so I prefer to be able to move around. So a few words about me. I am from Politecnico Milano. Politecnico Milano is an old university. We have service design as one of the orientation for our design school. Actually, I do teach in a Master of Product Service System Design, which is part of the design school. But I also am in charge of an international network, which is a network for social innovation and sustainability, which is the DAISYS network, that we are coordinating and we have founded some years ago. It's a network of design schools around the world which work with these topics, and as you will see today, service design is very much related with social innovation, and the two topics are quite hot today. Finally, I am responsible for a couple of master programs which are managed by Polidesign. Polidesign is a consortium of Politecnico di Milano, and one is a master in strategic design, and another one in collaborative housing and social housing. You will see strange topics, yes, strange, but all of them connected. What I'm going to present to you today is the result of a work that I'm doing with a colleague of me, which is Daniela San Giorgio. Daniela, she's Italian, but she's actually living and teaching and working in Lancaster University in the UK. Well, so, as promised, a quick journey through a potential way of looking at service design from a more disciplinary perspective, let's say, because we moved from this, standpoint, we can say. I think it was very well described in the previous presentation that today services are a very hot topic. And we understood that for every kind of designer, any culture of any designer, to have a knowledge of service design is today quite crucial. Even if you are a product designer, if you are an architect or an information designer, today having a service perspective is a way to change also and to renovate the way to look at innovation. When we speak about service design, we never speak about a singular discipline, but we always, by definition, we define something which is a little bit multidisciplinary. Service design needs very much to be to have open eyes for other disciplines, to be open to collaborate with other disciplines. Actually, we speak about service science to define a broader spectrum of disciplines that converge into this a discipline around services. So it's not just service, it's not just design, but it's ethnography, social sciences, management, and you will see that we need a lot of people collaborating to do, open to do a good job together with service design. So what I will try to answer a few questions during my presentation. So basically, what should a service designer design? What we can see is that every service is a co-creation of different people, different disciplines with different competencies. So what is our role, or the role that we can think a service design might have? Again, different competence need to match. Barbara mentioned it, or Petra, I don't remember, so one of you, the importance of having a horizontal capacity of see and combine things together. Yes, this is definitely true, but we also need to have a kind of more vertical competence which is more specific, and we will try to define also this kind of vertical competence. And then last, what is a well-designed ecosystem from the two different perspectives, the more than two different perspectives of the company, the user, the service designer. So when we have a good service in place, and how is it actually possible? Oh, I don't want to be let's say, too much into the definition field, but definitely I think we believe to try to give a definition of what a service is. I propose you this definition. So let's see if we can agree on that. A service is a form of regulated co-production of benefits between two or more parties. What does it mean? So not all interaction, of course, are services. Not all relations are services. But that's clear. But when there is a kind of intentional exchange of benefits, and this intention has some rules, well, definitely we can see that is a service, and in that interaction can be somehow designed, or at least we can create a condition for this interaction to take place in a certain way. So all services are forms of social interaction, that's for sure, and that's why we also need to consider another quite crucial point when we speak about services, which are the people, the persons. The framework that I like to present to you is more an interpretation of ongoing practices than just a theoretical thinking, but it's a way for us to try to combine what is today both the formal and informal or tacit knowledge about service design. As we have seen at the beginning, there is a lot of tacit knowledge in service design, which has not become yet explicit, it's not yet become a method, but actually there is a lot of knowledge in that. What we know for sure about services is that they are quite heterogenic artifacts. What do we mean with heterogenic? I love this picture of this perfect nippy. Yes, sure, you can rule everything, almost everything, but in the end the service can be not good as you wish. Why? Because, as we said at the beginning, we have the human intensity in a service. We have the persons, so not all can be ruled, not all can be designed, because there are the people there. And given that we cannot be designed as people, we need to accept to do things, we need to collaborate, we need to co-create. That's why we say that services can never be fully designed. Services can be encouraged somehow, can be enabled, but in the end you also have to work with the human side. Well, a couple of considerations at the beginning of this presentation. So, a couple of assumptions, let's say. I do believe that services can affect today behaviors and lifestyle more than products. And I do believe that services are a way to rethink and reconceptualize products. We can see this together now, but I really strongly believe that if we add a service perspective to our capacity to understand the world and our design thinking capacity, we can really discover a lot of new possibility for innovating in a way which is really somehow disrupting and positive. And we have seen it also with the example of the terminal. There are two main, to be a little bit didactic, let's say, we can say there are two main paradigms when we speak about service design. The first one is the one of interaction design and experience design, and it's very much about the how, so how things happen. And the other paradigm is very much about functionalities. So it's more about what. Let's try very shortly to see this a little bit more in detail, because I think this is a way to really understand the service design discipline a little bit more in depth. So the first one is really about the way we experience the things. And, well, the beautiful case of the airport and the lounge, moving lounge was a case. So it's not just a new functionality, but also is a way to make people having a new experience for waiting for the takeoff and so on. And that's very much related with the already known discipline of experience design, or design for experience, interaction design, information design. But also, we do also have another paradigm, which is the one more related with product service system design and design for sustainability, which takes the services as a way to rethink the way we do ordinary things. So, all what is about sharing economy, all what is about new ways of accessing instead of owning the goods and the stuff, really is within this paradigm. Therefore, if we can really combine the two ways of thinking, we can really move fast forward to innovate the way we live and the way the environment we live in. The first paradigm, and the one I really want to make a long story short, is very much related with these 4 keywords, which are from the service marketing discipline: intangibility, heterogeneity, inseparability, and perishability. What are they? They are a way to describe what a service is, basically. Intangibility, as was mentioned, is about the fact that, first of all, we cannot see services cannot be seen, felt, or touched in a way that products can be. Among the projects that were mentioned, there was one which is about the public transportation. It's definitely clear that to change the experience of a public transportation, of using the public transportation, is not enough to change the shape of the seat. We have to act in a more broader environment of artifacts and things, and therefore it's not just a matter of designing a good artifact, but to understand how the different artifacts that we encounter during our journey really interact. There is very much emphasis on the materialization. So when we speak about intangibility of the services, we really think about the way we can use services to dematerialize our habits and consumption. Therefore, we can access something instead of owning it. We can have one less bicycle in our yard, but 1,000 more bicycles available in the town. And so this is a way to dematerialize our burden of stuff, let's say, but to have more access to what we really need, to the benefit we really need to have. Another keyword is heterogeneity. What is that? Again, this is very much related to the human presence. Even if you give a lot of rules for the behaviors of a waiter, for instance, well, in the end, it's the personal condition, the personal mood, and the different situation that really impact the way the service will be provided. So services, despite the tentative of really giving rules and norms, change over time and time to time. So this means that for service designer, there is a lot of work with trying to work upon diversity as a way to customize the service instead of a way to try to standardize the results. Then another keyword is inseparability. What does it mean? It means that we can deliver a service if there is no presence of customer. You will say, oh, stupid sentence. Yes, it's true, but the flight can fly empty, and so that's not a service for anyone. And this is another big topic for a service designer, because in this case we really have to think that our customer, the users, are actually co-producer of the service themselves. And this is very much related with the last keywords I want to introduce you about service design, which is perishability. What does it mean? It means that services cannot be stored. If a flight empty, it is a waste of a service, of a potential service. In this case, for a service designer, the big issue is being able to forecast the peaks, to try to answering the demand for service by connecting and activating different resources according to the needs, and not just to create flexible network instead of having a fixed network. So, the other paradigm that we mentioned is about the functional one. And so the first one was really about the way we design services from the perspective of the experience, of the interaction. Let's think about services as a way to change our everyday things, everyday lifestyle. Well, when we speak about mobility instead of cars, we are on the way for that. So using services as a way to create, to think at functions in a very, very different way. So to understand how things can be solved using new ways of really thinking and using access in the environment. This introduces a couple of keywords, again quite important, which are about the way we face also sustainability. And these two keywords are about efficiency and sufficiency. Efficiency is all about the optimization of the use we do of things, of stuff. So all is about technical and organizational optimization, goes in the direction of making more efficient a service, a product, or whatever. And for instance, this is the field of eco-design. When we speak about efficiency, we go in that direction. So using less resources, using less stuff, go in that. And that's crucial for service design. It's a fundamental part of sustainable service design. But it's not enough. And it is enough only if we also speak in terms of sufficiency. Sufficiency is not just reducing the material consumption, but potentially completely remove the needs of using a certain stuff. So accessing a bike instead of owning another one. So again, if we really want to have and to use service design in a holistic way, we need to keep all these things together, and we need to have this kind of holistic thinking when we use design and we try to face a service design challenge. So this was a kind of background for this framework, for this map that I like to introduce you, which is a kind of compass we can use to navigate into the world of service design. It's not a map, it's a kind of map that helps you to visualize the different purposes of a service design, and let's see without the text. And so considering service design and design for services as a way to have a human-centered discipline, as a way to have a human-centered approach to design, we can see that we can move in 4 different directions. And we will very quickly navigate these 4 directions and see some example of the different potential projects that we can have there. Let's start from the West. And from this side, which is somehow the most well-known kind of work we can do with service design. It's very much related to what we define as the paradigm of interaction and experience and so on. We're going towards West when our purpose in designing a service is really working with interaction, relation, and experiences, and trying to see how people interact and behave in different circumstances in order to improve this, the quality of the interaction. So there is very much about evaluating, understanding and evaluating service experiences and relation and interaction in order to improve them or to change them in a certain way. There are a number of keywords which we can adopt. But I like to jump these keywords to go into an example which is probably also related to the field of work that we are developing here in the camp. This is a case study that probably the people from UK know quite well. Maybe Emma, you know it. And it has been developed by Think Public, which is a UK consultancy working with the services in the public sector. And it was about rethinking the quality of the service experience in the public hospital. They developed a way, an approach to service design that is called experience-based design, which, moving from observation to brainstorming and to service development, started to increase the quality of the customer journey of the user journey in the public hospital. You know that when you are waiting for a response in a hospital, you are in a very sensitive and particular situation, emotional situation. And so they started really by trying to understand what the people were going through while they were waiting for seeing the doctor, having an answer, and so on and so forth. And the aim of this, that was a pilot experiment, the pilot project. Now it is a program which is diffused all over the NHS, so the National Healthcare System in UK. And the starting point for Think Public was really to try to engage both the patients and the staff into a collaborative framework to understand first and then solve after all the difficult moments of the interaction in the different phases of the user journey. So basically their aim was and is to move from complaining to being proactive and solving together the problem. Okay, it's from the methodological perspective, they create groups of work combining patient, staff, and you know, in the different sectors and areas of the hospital. And so they create group of work which then are dedicated to the singular different problems. They work very much on branding the project and so spreading the knowledge of the project in place, and so engaging the people on the base of the interest in participating. They try to identify the problems, and they try to, by combining patient and staff, to come out with solutions. Actually, after this was the main principle, so if people can identify with the problem, they are more likely to become part of the solution. This is very true, and this is very key learning in service design. And after this first pilot, they came out with the first set of solutions and improvements that were, most of them were quite no cost or low cost, so very, very easy to be implemented, but brought a big sense of improvement in the quality of the service. And now they are replicating the services, the program in different hospitals. So several lessons learned. I won't enter now in the detail, but this was to say that you can really work with service design by understanding and developing the experience and the interaction of the people in the different circumstances. Let's move in the south of our map, and let's try to see what's happened when we touch services which are interactions that somehow change the way systems are organized. What does it mean? Well, sometimes by changing through, if we change the way a company or organization interact with the people, with the users, you need also to change the way the organization is organized. So sometimes moving from the skin, let's say, of a service, you really need to change the heart of an organization. Let's see another case study. This is from Italy. It's a public initiative, so maybe it's related to also your interest. It's a long story. I want to make it really short because we have few time, but I think it can give the idea. This was developed by DARC. DARC was the research center of Domus Academy. Actually, was requested from the local government, regional government, to support a pilot project that was aiming to change the way the labor agency, the labor lab of the department was taken in charge of the unemployed people. The project was, the title was Dote Lavoro. The purpose was, you know, there are agencies that take care of the unemployed people, and in the traditional system, these agencies were used to get money from the regional government, and then taking care somehow of the people, unemployed people. This project was aiming to change the way this system works by giving the money, a kind of token, to the unemployed people, so to make them able to select and to choose the agency that was able to better really serve their need of finding a new job. So the power was given not to the agency, but to the people, to the unemployed. And this was a big shift, not just a formal way of doing things, because instead of giving the money to the agency and probably forget about that money because you never know how an agency actually works, you give the money, which is not real money, but the possibility to use some public money to the unemployed, looking for the best agency able to help with finding a new job. So it's a kind of Copernican revolution, because you give power to the user. So it was not that small project, it was a big organizational change that Domus Academy, with this project, tried to support, making somehow evident the intention, making advertising the project, and try to create the same mental model of the new system in the mind of the staff on one side and in the mind of the user on the other side. So very much work was done in giving shape to an information design able to match the two viewpoints, and at the same time to create a consensus around a new service. So a lot of work was done really to visualize this customer journey, to observe what's happening in the pilot, and to transform this into a set of guidelines and communication guidelines for the different steps of the work. New collaborative service model. Let's move to East in our compass. I told you that it would have been a very quick journey. And actually this is a huge part, a very hot stuff, because today, as we are seeing, and if you look at what's happening in the real world, a lot of new services are emerging thanks to the capacity of collaborating that was provided by the network, the social network, the digital environments, and so on. So this is a huge, huge part. It's very much related with social innovation, because it's about the way how people also can organize themselves to do things together in a new way, and how a designer, a service designer, can support these kind of initiatives. So this is very much about understanding new service models, new way of producing benefits and value, new value chains or value constellations. So it's, again, it's very much about combining the power of doing things with a good view of how organization and system actually work. A good example, I think, is this. Again, when we analyzed this case study 3 years ago, it was at the beginning. Now it's really booming, and again, it is in the UK. I'm sorry for this. Maybe Emma can say whether or not it's a huge impact situation. And again, a long story short, sorry for being so superficial, but the idea was to try to create a situation to support as much as possible elderly people in living independent at home. So in 2007, Participle got the request for this project by the London Borough Council, and they started to understand how really could these elderly people, still independent, but of course with some problem, to live at home as long as possible. And they started with understanding that sometimes a little help can make a big difference. So they went through a number of interviews. They went to they start to map out the different personal network of the people and to see how these different personal network, support network actually work. They really went through several steps of kind of ethnographic work. And they came out with the idea of Circle. Circle is a membership organization that basically help the people to create a network around them of helpers that can intervene in daily tasks, very simple, that can make the difference for an elderly people. This was the beginning, the purpose, at the beginning the purpose. Actually, what we see now is a project that has really grown. Look, Southwark Circle is now a big reality, so not only elderly are engaged, but basically there is a system of members being, you can be an helper if you think you can do something, or you can just ask for help depending on your situation. It's very much, of course, local neighborhood based. And the system to exchange these kind of favors, they are not for free, is by obtaining credits or tokens that can be used for different purposes, for instance, also dining out. So if you enter this system as an helper, for instance, you can give your availability to do certain things and stuff. And you can get, in change, tokens. If you need help, you can buy a number of tokens and use them to ask for help to your neighborhoods and your network. Well, this is really, really working well, because by connecting also with restaurants and food-related activities, it was a way also to revitalize the local economy and to make it work on a more, let's say, also in a new way. If you look at the calendar, this is the calendar of the current month. There are a number of activities which are all regulated by this system. So from one place, now I think we have 22 experiment pilots projects around London or something like that. So a huge increase in a few years. Similar to this, we have this, which is mainly based in North America. Just give you the title because it's another huge case, very interesting. Again, it's the idea of creating a connection on a digital platform among several people that belongs to the care environment of people with in need. They can be either elderly or people with different problems. So basically, it's a digital platform that helps creating this network on a permanent basis. Let's move, because I like just to present you another couple of cases in this field. This is a project that we have been facilitated, and we are still working in this field, as I told you at the beginning, in the co-housing, in collaborative housing. So we have been helping future co-housers in creating their in shaping their common dream of living together in a common place. We started this a few years ago with a kind of pilot group of people willing to create a co-housing, and now we have actually gained a lot of experience, and we are working with several groups. So finding people, finding the areas, designing the process. I just want to show you one of the tools that we have developed to work with this community. That was a tool of a deck of issue cards, activity cards, that we developed to help the future co-houser to envision together the kind of communal life they wanted to have. And so by using these tools, which are really designer tools because they're also quite conventional, you can really help support people in start interacting, working together, and communally create the idea of the place they want to live in. So these cards are related to several activities of the ordinary life, and they've been selected, discussed, changed, combined, so to create different potential identity for their co-housing system and transform these identities into a brief for the architect in the future community. Before doing the real co-housing, we also help them in prototyping the future life by enacting several activities, so not just deciding what to do together, but try to anticipate in the present what would have been their future life. And now we are trying to create all this to make a more structured framework for intervention with this experience. Well, this is the co-housing done in the end and now built in Milan. Let me skip this. I know it's an interesting project, but I want to jump to the last part and to the conclusion. So, last part, the north of our compass, when service design somehow is a way to help materialize in the present time scenarios for the future. Services are, as we said, has the potential of changing lifestyle probably more than products. And the more you work with big communities, and the more you try to engage big communities in development projects, territorial development projects, the more you can really touch the power of working with the community and with several stakeholders. Only one project in this field, but I think it's quite interesting. It's a project that we are running in Milan since some years. It started a few years ago on the paper. This was a completely theoretical work done with the support of the ministry. And the idea was to try to make use of this huge agricultural park we have in the south of Milan. Milan, in the end, is a small village with a huge agricultural park in the south. And a few years ago, we had the opportunity to work around this project with several universities to see how to make use of this beautiful area, which is not just an agricultural park, but it's a place of the of an historic value for Milan. And how to create services and situations that can make these two realities, the city and the park, closer and more integrated. So these are some images. Well, to make a long story short, we came out after a 1.5 years of work with the idea of 6, 7, 8 service models about this, for the creation of this link between the countryside and the town. But they were literally on the paper. Then, and they were in between the town, the countryside, the food and the leisure, combining the different things in different mix. So, beautiful idea on the paper, and the idea of this kind of network. Well, then it happened that Milano won the competition for the 2015 Expo, that will be about food, and we said, you know what if we make this for real? So what if we really start a project that helps Milan to feed itself, using as much as possible the resources of the countryside? We transformed this theoretical project into a beautiful vision, or that's what we thought is a beautiful vision. We worked with Slow Food and the University of Gastronomic Science. We developed an idea for a bigger project. And we got actually founded by a bank foundation, Carico Foundation, to kick off this project that we named Nutrire Milano, Feeding Milan. Nutrire Milano Feeding Milan is the idea of really combining on one side the farmers and on the other side the user in a brand new way, by creating a system of services which are synergizing each other and creating synergies to make possible several things. As first effort in this direction, together with Slow Food, we set up this farmers market that now is very well established, and it was, believe me or not, the first farmers market we had in Milan on the public land. And today is the biggest one. And this farmers market was the starting point and is still the starting point for other services to come. Because we use this market as a kind of platform for making the farmers to meet, meeting the consumers, developing new ideas, combining different things. As you can see, it's not just a place where you can buy food, but most of all it's a place for conviviality, where people can eat, experiment, do things together. And we also have a stall which is dedicated to the research. It's a kind of open living lab that we use to interact with people, to propose and discuss new ideas. I'm concluding, sorry, I'm a little bit late. And in this place, which is really crowded, and it's basically after 2-3 years, we can say it is a success. And it gathers every 2 weeks a lot of farmers, so it's a complex service. It's not just selling food. As we said, we created a place where we interact with people, what's happening, and where we use conventional design tools and service design tools to discuss and propose new ideas, and then to develop these ideas further in other circumstances. So it's a kind of, yes, open design desk in the public space, in the air, where we also involve our students to discuss new things to come. And so with this purpose, with this kind of interaction with the people and with the citizens, we have created now a kind of more permanent desk within a very strange location, which is a urban farmhouse. And we are developing this platform, which is both a digital and a physical one. We are developing a number of things in the countryside about horticulture and the farmer's box. We are developing a bread chain, a local bread chain. We are developing, this is a big ambitious project, a food co-op on the model of an American one. We are developing several activities in the countryside, so a huge project of transformation, which is now really taking shape. We also hope in the light of 2015 Expo. So this is our compass, but we are not the only one here, because we understood very well that in this journey around the world of service design, sorry, I don't know why, we had a number of other competencies we have to work with. So these competencies move from cognitive psychology to production management, social psychology. So according to the different position and directions of our compass, we really have to deal with other experience, other expertise, and being able to find a common language with that. Thank you very much.